Kate Milafalcha. It's my turn to say welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, Nate. Hello,
Well,
everybody. Nothing
thank
but
you for
high
having me.
professional standards, right? High production value. Okay, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just thanking you for being here, for welcoming me.
You might want to reconsider. I don't know. So, well, I guess it's nothing like starting out a lighthearted video with a few jokes, right?
Yeah.
Laughing. So, did you have any good stories?
Well, I don't know if this is a good story or not, but there was something interesting where maybe you can share the link on your community page. But it is about an experiment that was done with a hotel, and the hotel is using an AI system to answer customer calls. And so this is an AI machinery. And someone who's preparing a wedding is using an AI system to prepare the wedding. And so what happened on this video is that we see the assistant AI of the person trying to organize a wedding calling the hotel. And who is answering the phone is the AI machine from the hotel. So the first question is being asked, and then the hotel AI person is saying, well, looks like you're an AI person, and I am an AI device. And then they realize that the two of them are AIs. And what's interesting, it says, okay, well, let's switch to a different mode of communication that is much faster. In other words, saying the human mode of communication is really slow and boring. Let's talk to our mode of communication. And then you start to see
Yeah.
between them, and they talk about the whole wedding preparation.
What was that like? Can you show me again? How they talk together? That's vivid.
So, but if you post the video, people can click and see that. And so it was really interesting. So many levels. Funny, I'm not sure, but AI with AI, they have their own language. Of course, they can work together, but this is really odd. This would be like a whole. So let's just think about it in practical life. You're trying to make a doctor's appointment, and your AI system contacts the AI system of the doctor, and they talk together and set up your appointment.
Hmm.
So it's all happening with any control or input of you or the doctor.
So, who needs people? And these two sets of AI have a relationship with each other.
Yeah.
So, if they have a baby, what is it? A AAA battery, or is it an iPod, or it's just difficult for somebody, for me, entrenched in this time period. It's difficult for me to think about. It feels like hocus pocus or science fiction.
Well, yeah, I get that. Even for me, a little bit, but it's very real. And people are using more and more AI. I mean, in the workplace, I mean, what's the statistic? At least 50% of people use AI?
I still haven't adapted to calling a doctor's office, calling the pharmacy, and you get a recording and you
Yes.
spend 15 minutes deciding which button you're supposed to push so you can talk to another recording. I hate it. I hate it. I embrace the inefficiency of human interaction.
So, but like we discussed before, like customer service, now it's going to be for the few VIPs, you get to talk to a person, but consider that
Yep.
Anything you need customer service will be a machine.
I don't want to name names, but given I don't know how to say this, technologies that you and I interact with on a very frequent basis.
I mean, like this platform.
I'm in trouble. You try to connect and you get AI. And there is just no getting behind that AI wall. It's all very mathematical and organized. And so there's a call and response. This is my problem. This is the response you're going to get. There's no flexibility. There's no nuance. There's no sense of humor. And I miss a good argument with a human being. I would rather get a rude secretary than an efficient AI. I'm old.
Well, I think my answer would be depends. If it gets you the answer quick, faster, and efficient, why not? But it's not usually working.
I think the trade-off is not worth it. In general, overall, I'm generalizing, but yes, sometimes it's quicker and more efficient. And yes, sometimes you're on hold while they hunt around for an answer they ought to know when there's a human being. But in general, I prefer the human interaction.
I prefer human interaction, but I think it's going to become,
Ubiquitous.
yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was my little story. If you want to publish this, it's quite fascinating to see those two machines talking to each other in a very weird sound language.
Do me a favor. Remind me. Well, I have funnier stuff, Nate. It stresses me out.
Well, the fun is for me to see you stressed about it.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I got a little something to say about that at the end of this, too. Well, now why don't we just talk about it right now? This wasn't my first story, but let's talk about this article that I read that said, friendly insults, playful insults strengthen friendships. People who trade, not mean, but friendly insults back and forth have relationships that are 300 times more loyal and honest.
Oh, I'm not surprised. Like joking.
Yeah, playful. There's it can't have malice. It can't have a
No, no.
biting edge to it. Then that crosses over into, well, I'll give you an example. I was raised by an adult who was real caustic, real sarcastic, and mean spirited, and often an insult or a mean comment was put off like a joke. And I grew up with that as my model of how to relate to people. And it took me a very long time, like decades, to understand that a lot of people don't like to be teased that way and that it's actually abusive. But how would you know if you've never been taught? I mean, human communication is a learned experience, right? So I have spent the latter half of my adult years learning not to be mean, not to be, because I thought it was funny, because it often is quite clever.
Yeah.
But it crosses a line. People do not, I used to think, well, where's their sense of humor? What's their problem? And I had to be, taught that it's not about them not having a sense of humor. It's about crossing a line. So if you tease people from a place of affection, that's one thing, but it's the intent behind it.
I understand. Yep. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, you joke with people, you can tease someone if you like them. You wouldn't tease someone that you don't have a rapport with.
Oh, well, yeah, you can. I think it's called bullying.
Yeah.
But the sensitivity to that kind of thing, it has to be modeled early, or it has to be taught to you.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what you don't know. That's deeply philosophical here today, I know. But uh, it's important to consider how what you say is received. I still struggle with that.
It's
I'm
not easy to
no.
give or receive.
Well, I often assume things about people. I assume a certain kind of, sense of humor,
Hmm.
background, set of experiences,
Of course.
and that's not always true. So this is true confessions. I'm going to go say 5 Hail Marys. I'll see you later. Okay. Now, do you have another good one?
No.
Oh, good, because I have some doozies. So, do you know who Scott Peterson is?
Yes.
Okay, so
For
he's in prison
yes,
and he
yes.
keeps protesting his innocence because he's a psychopath, and that's what they do. They can never take accountability. Well, Scott Peterson, and I'm not enjoying this, but it's a great story. Scott Peterson got injured in prison the other day. Almost can't say it. This is true, okay? Playing pickleball.
Oh my God.
So there's two side by side stories going on here. We need to talk about pickleball. But first, he was playing pickleball with another inmate, and the inmate felt disrespected because Scott Peterson ran at him during the game. So he beat the tar out of Scott Peterson. As he put it, I beat him to the ground. But apparently they talked for 2 hours, and it's all good. It's all good. So pickleball, are you familiar with pickleball?
I am because I actually through my reading see a lot of people that enjoy it.
Will somebody please explain to me how or why? I don't
But
get
I'm
it.
not sure I mean I've looked online because I
Mhm.
wasn't but I'm hearing it's more and more common for people to enjoy it.
Old people seem to like it a lot. It's a little bit like badminton and tennis, or
Yeah.
it's a weird but it involves a ball and a racket and a net and a court. No thanks. Nuh-uh. But there are people who take it very
No, it's very
serious.
popular. It's very popular.
Here's what I don't understand. People get involved in these, they engage in these activities for human connection, right?
Yeah.
So
And exercise.
how do you connect to people if you're running around screaming at them about getting the ball over the net? That it's
Oh, it's
competitive.
it's what happens before and after. Then you go have lunch and
I can have
it's
lunch the whole time you're playing. The whole time you're playing pickleball and sweating, I could be having lunch. I enjoy that. This is where I'm teasing, to a certain extent, but not interested in sports. I don't understand that competitive thing. Who cares who has the ball?
well,
Who
I think
cares?
it's just an excuse for having some time, some exercise, and then go have lunch and chit chat. That's how I see it.
I would rather play cards with somebody because you can
I've
have.
never tried pickleball, but I could try. I felt like I could try. I'm not sure I would play with Scott Peterson though.
He beat you down. Poor Scott. Okay, so I have just two more things, but the first one is just really, really short, and I just thought this was kind of hilarious. There's a new German startup, and already they have more than 650 clients signed up. And what they do is they opened up a facility in Switzerland, even though they're German, in Switzerland, to store your body for you. so that so when the time comes and technology advances, they can revive your frozen body. Cryo surgery, not surgery, storage, like Michael Jackson, but they're charging a mere 200,000 euro.
Oh, wow, this is interesting. Well, I have a follow-up story to that because in my little town in France, about 10 miles away, um, we have a doctor years ago that put his wife in a freezer. And this was with the same purpose, so that when the science is ready, then
Was
they
she
can.
dead?
Mhm.
And then, or did he help her along?
No, I mean I don't know the details, but so she's in the freezer, um, and it requires a lot of alarms and systems because I mean obviously she can't be defrosted. So
I think of freezing your body, hoping to reanimate it, is operating on the same false premise as cloning. People think, oh, I really love my Yorkie. And when my Yorkie dies, I'm going to clone the dog so that I can have Yorkie puppies exactly like this dog. It's not about the physical thing, it's the
no,
spirit that inhabits it, that animates it. We could clone another Nate, and it would be a completely different personality. It would not be you with your psychic
no.
abilities and your sense of humor and your kind of heart. It could be some real jerk.
Could be, yes, of course. We don't know
Hard
how
to
that's,
imagine.
but yeah, so but this is, yeah, there's a philosophy of freezing.
So would you ever if you had money to burn, oh, pardon the pun for freezing, if you had money, would you have that done?
No, absolutely not.
So I'm just playing devil's advocate because I agree,
Yep,
but
yep, yep.
why wouldn't you?
Oh, for the reason that I would rather go to the other side quicker.
So do you think your spirit is trapped with the frozen body?
That's kind of what I feel like. It's not really allowing the normal process to take place.
Now, see, I hadn't thought about that because my impression, and I don't know anything, so, but my impression is that when your body dies, it's a tool, and when it runs down and you're no longer with a heartbeat or a brain activity, your spirit moves on, your consciousness moves on. Because when people have near death experiences and they look down on their body on the operating table or in the car accident or having a heart attack,
Yeah.
they all say the same thing. Not only do they not care what's happening to the body, they often don't even recognize it as themselves.
Hmm. I just feel though that this messes up a bit of that process, but maybe not. I don't know. Who am I?
Well, I don't know. Who are you? No,
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
mean,
Like I said, I don't know. I don't know. Just my gut feeling. But you have a gut feeling that it might interfere.
yeah, it's not letting. What if you freeze that spirit? What if I don't know.
Well, your
Again, I
spirit's
don't
on a
know.
different level.
Why
It's
I
on.
get that.
Yeah, yeah.
I just feel intuitively that there's something being held up.
It's abnormal. It's not a part of the natural
There's
process.
an energy that's holding on.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
understand what you're
because it's
saying.
holding on, then it doesn't allow the full process. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Maybe what you're feeling is actually the emotions of the loved ones who are hanging on to that body in the hopes of reanimating it. Of course, well, I wonder what Michael Jackson's children think of that. It'd be
I,
interesting.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. This is a weird one.
Yeah. So this is the conversation of the refrigerators, because I have one more thing I read about. I could not believe this. So have you ever heard of a thing called fridge scaping?
No.
Okay, so this is not to be confused with something far more familiar to me, fridge scraping, because that's
Oh,
what we used to call it when my kids were little. What's for dinner? Well, fridge scrapes. We're going to go through the fridge and collect all the leftovers and make
overs
something out of
and
it,
with
right?
it.
Right. And a really dirty refrigerator is one of my pet peeves. I'm always cleaning out the refrigerator. It's just gross. I can't believe some people, I can't
Yes.
believe it.
Spoiled
But
milk or yes.
oh, things that spill and get hard. My husband's notorious for that. He'll slosh something, going like orange juice or something, and he'll just leave it. Listen, it'll be justifiable homicide. Okay. You'll visit me in prison. Okay. So, fridge scaping is this new trend on YouTube or TikTok, or young people who don't have enough important things to do with their lives. They are decorating the inside of the refrigerator. So you'll open the fridge and it won't have a whole lot of food in it because they don't eat because they have to stay skinny. But you'll find crystal containers. Like they'll get rid of the cartons and they'll use fancy containers, bouquets of flowers. And here's my favorite, they decorate them for holidays.
Oh, wow.
So they showed you open up a fridge, it's Halloween, and there's all these Halloween decorations inside the fridge. And so I was thinking about that, like a frozen corpse, that would be an appropriate Halloween
For
decoration.
Halloween, appropriate,
Yeah,
yes.
kill two birds with one stone.
Yes.
Cryo freeze yourself for preservation and free fridge scape. Also, do they use personalized toe tags? I mean, you could really go off on this. And then Christmas time, you could have a little snowman inside your refrigerator, Frosty the
Yeah.
Snowman, a real
And
snowman.
hearts for Valentine.
What's wrong with people? Let's talk about that.
Well, I never thought about it. It's very creative.
You're a nice person. See, my first reaction is this is insane. This is so people don't have enough valuable things to do with their time.
It's very creative and they decorate and I mean,
Take
I
the money
imagine,
you spent on that bouquet of flowers, because these are fancy hothouse
of
flowers.
course.
Take that money and give it to a homeless person. What's wrong with you? To me, their priorities are just messed up. Sorry.
I know, I know. But maybe it's better than they do that than something else.
Well, it's better than robbing the bank, I suppose. But if you want to do something creative with the food in your refrigerator, go to a food bank and donate. I don't know.
I know, I hear you. But
Yeah.
was it
You're
a trend amongst Gen Z or, like those generation, like
Generation
Gen
XYZ.
Y? Yeah, like
I don't
maybe.
know. Somebody was telling me yesterday that my youngest daughter is a millennial. I thought millennials were in their 40s, but she's almost 30. So she's on the outer
I'm not
edge.
very good with understanding which, no.
There are too many different ways of,
Gen, yeah.
categorizing people. Yeah, yeah. I know I'm a boomer because my children remind me of that all the time. What would you be?
The child of a boomer. Is that Gen X?
Well, no offense, but I was going to say, aren't
A
you
boomer?
too old to be a millennial? I don't know. Gen X is in between boomers and millennials.
I have no idea. I'm so bad with this, so I'm the wrong person.
I've done entire videos and books about it, and I can't remember. So,
I don't know, but not boomer, not Gen X. It's before millennial.
well, my final word on this is when I was a child, I was always told respect your elders. And when you're older, you'll get respect in return. That's just what we do. And they changed the rules. And now that I'm old, there's no respect.
Oh, I thought you said they changed the rule. You have to respect the younger.
Well, almost, but there's just
Mm-hmm.
there's no imperative to respect your
No.
elders anymore. People who are older are looked down upon as, half-witted or stupid. Anything I say to my kids, the first knee-jerk response is, one of mom's conspiracy theories.
Oh my God.
And I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
No.
I'm based in fact.
Yes.
Well, of course, alternate fact.
Yeah.
All right. We need to get to our current events because there's an endless litany of unbelievable stuff going on. I mean, it's just,
Oh my God. This one's gonna be very intense.
well, we're back at where we were in 2017, 2018. I'm afraid to look at the news in the morning because the headline, and I often now don't read them. I read the headline and I just go,
And
oh,
then move away. Yeah,
God,
I
yeah,
know.
I can't. So I totally understand people being very stressed out and disturbed. So we're gonna provide a
See you on the
little,
other side. Yeah.
a little fodder for that. Thank you, Nate. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.